Hi, I'm Salman and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Originally, I planned this video to be a deep dive into transforming the General Loomis head into your chosen reference. While that's still on the horizon, today's video is all about hands-on demonstration. After analyzing my previous video, I realized that while I delivered a solid information on the concept verbally and visually, it lacked some practical demonstration on actual heads. So in this video, I'll be walking you through how I draw heads from various angles using some references. No matter what the angle of the head is, my process always begins with a simple sphere as the base, upon which I gradually build layers. Then I go ahead and define the tilt of the head. Now don't mix this up with the center line of the face. The two are totally different from each other. The tilt line shows how much the head is rotated, like top to bottom or left to right, right? Usually, I use the width of the sphere to represent the overall width of the face, until and unless it is not in a front view. Then I figure out where the eyebrow ends, because that's the key to point the chopped part. This point where the eyebrow ends to the corner of the ear gives us the width of the chopped part of the sphere. And this shape totally depends on how tilted the head is. Next, by keeping the angle in mind, I draw the eyebrow line, which goes from right to left. The right eyebrow is a bit above the left. The ear line breaks the tilt and makes an angle with the eyebrow line. Make sure to keep it in mind. The vertical line in the chopped part is perpendicular to the ear line, and our ear goes in the fourth quadrant. I pinpoint the center line of the face by locating the middle of the glabella. This center line follows the same angle as the tilt line, but remember, the head is not a flat surface, it's a form. Hence, the line will curve and wrap around the form rather than being straight. Now we are aiming for the right angle, not the exact proportions. So the thirds will be equal as Andrew Loomis taught us. These thirds will follow the same angle as the eyebrow line. On the side not fully visible to us, the jaw will appear as a single line with an arc. In this reference, that line is very close to the center line due to the tilt. On the other side, extend the line of the chopped part down and then connect it to the chin at the appropriate angle. In this position, the connection line is nearly horizontal. I'll be plotting the basic shape of the ear, and for the neck, imagine it as a flexible cylindrical form. Lastly, to get a sense of plane change in the head, I'll add this rhythm line. Okay, so before starting this one, let me tell you that there was a serious reason of choosing this image as a reference. I'll tell you what in the process. So starting with the sphere as a foundation and setting the corners of the sphere to represent the width of the face. Well, in this reference, the width of the chopped part is about 1/3 of the total width. If the concept of chopped part isn't clear, check out my latest video where I dive deep into it. Now this head is viewed from the bottom, so the eyebrow line will move up on the sphere. I have the reference image right here, so some things that I place are measured directly from the photo. To ensure you are placing the eyebrow line and ear line correctly, focus on the angle between them. Next, I'll plot the center line of the face, which should wrap around the form. Now you remember I was talking about some concept in the beginning for choosing this image? Yeah, it is to demonstrate foreshortening. As discussed in my previous video, imagine the head as a cylinder. If you can, use a physical cylinder. Not that gas cylinder, a cardboard cylinder, or a cylinder made by folding a paper, right? Plot the thirds on it and rotate it. The third on the farther side will appear shorter, while the one in the front seems larger. The length remains equal, the overlap creates this illusion. This concept applies here as well. In this position, we can see the bending point of the jaw on both the sides. So this time it won't be an arc. With the changing angle of the face, the jaw will appear differently. Instead of the chin and the jaw being separate, it looks like a straight line. Well, straight lines are very helpful when it comes to capture the essence because it's easier to control. We can also see the bottom plane of the nose, which according to me is a great indication of an head rotated upwards. Drawing this will help convey the tilt. Finally, if you don't want to leave her bald, sketch the basic shape of the hair using straight lines. In this image, we are looking at the model from front and not much of a rotation is occurring. But there is one important thing, which you will already be knowing if you had watched the last video. But when that part comes, I'll tell you about it again. So, from the front view, the head doesn't look like a perfect sphere. Instead, it looks like a squashed one. But in our image, the position is not straight up front. It does have a tilt. So I'll be taking the width of the face a little inside the sphere. And the chopped part is pretty slim when viewed from this angle. And then I'll be just framing the sphere and placing the chopped part whose length is 2/3 from center and width is what we just defined, right? The eyebrow line will be at an angle and the ear line will move down because of the tilt. Here comes the important thing. When the head in front of you is carrying some expression on his or her face, the center line and the thirds might get affected slightly or drastically. Hence, the center line is not straight at an angle. Instead, it breaks into two different angles. And then, as I told you in the last video, the thirds will be asymmetrical on this face. Then I'll go ahead by defining the chin. And the shape of the jaw is just a tapered box but tilted. The right one lower to the left. And then the rhythm which shows the plane change going on the head. In his neck, we can see a little squash and stretch is going on. The hair is a tough part and that's the reason I'm not covering it right now. So till then, you can either keep your models bald or block in the general shape of the hair. According to me, this much might be enough to get an idea of how to practice it. Now, how will you apply all of these concepts on people with different proportions and make the general Loomis head to look something like your chosen reference? I'll show you how in my next video. I hope you guys are enjoying this series and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the community.